Hello and welcome, I am Etherslug, and today I'll be going through some ideas for a backstory that engages the player and the DM in active roleplaying. I will not be going too deep into how you should or could be building the backstory for the character. I will be going through that in another video, but I've seen too many times how the backstory might even be quite long, but in the end doesn't really flesh out the character in any meaningful way. In this video I'll be throwing out a character idea that has good hooks for roleplaying that you can use as it is or mix and match them in your own characters. I'll first go through the background and then give out the tips and tricks on how to integrate all of that into the gameplay, and this video might be good for the players but also for the DM. Let's begin. Jaron is a gravekeeper in a small village of Balin. In this world where corpses must be buried correctly or else the spirits will come to haunt, so it's a tedious job. Jaron lives with his sickly mother and an older brother who recently found out his clerical powers and is about to move out from Balin to go to the big city to learn more of the trade or profession. Jaron is somewhat bitter towards his brother since he has to do hard manual labor and his brother gets to live a good life in the big city because of his powers. He thinks that his brother should just stay home and tend to their mother with his newly acquired powers. Just so it happens to be, Jaron discovers he has somewhat similar powers. Although much less powerful than his brother, it is not really possible for him to apply to the school with only this much power. Jaron and his brother are quite similar in looks, since they are both brothers and only a few years apart in age. One day Jaron's dark side takes the control after a somewhat heated discussion with his brother, and he ends up killing his brother with his gravedigger shovel and dumping his body into an open grave. Jaron quickly picks up his brother's belongings and basically steals his identity. How Jaron explained the disappearance of his brother to their mother is unknown, and you can decide that as a player, but Jaron ends up moving out to the big city and starts his clerical path with a new identity. The studying isn't easy nor is it luxurious the way he thought it would be. His crime still haunts him nearly every day. Jaron tries to make amends with his past wrongdoings by focusing on his studies and by helping the people around him, but he cannot go back to his hometown to look his mother in the eye, nor visit the grave that he left open with his brother laying in the rain. His brother's spirit is not resting in peace. So, the backstory is somewhat short, but it has a lot of things that can be integrated into the role-playing of this character. First of all, how Jaron looks. His attire could be described as too big or not fitting since it was his brother. He might have some memorabilia that he doesn't really know what it is from because they originally belonged to his brother. He might fiddle around with one specific item and he doesn't really want to tell his party members or can't tell why he likes that item. Well, of course, we all like to throw inside checks, so there is that. Eventually, he might be recognized. Jaron could have higher strength or upper body muscle mass because of his previous profession as a gravedigger, so he might not really even look like a cleric for that matter. Also, his skin might be more damaged since he has been shoveling dirt in all of the weathers and spending time outside more than a studying cleric usually does. Jaron might also have some quirks or strange habits that the other clerics and priests feel unchurch-like. For example, alcohol might be forbidden for clerics in this world, but Jaron drinks it, or anything like that that works in your world setting. Substance abuse, getting married, etc. There is a lot of good and evil paths the character could take. Jaron wants to fix his past wrongdoings by focusing on his studies. He might want to help families in distress or break fights between siblings he might see on the streets. He has problems stepping into cathedrals and churches even though he's a cleric because of his small conflict inside his head, and this might alert some of his party members. Eventually he might become somewhat of a father figure in the party if he matures enough, so it might be some kind of an empathetic end goal if you want to make this character as good as possible even though his backstory is quite dark. His brother might have had trips to the big city before he eventually decided to move there, so it could be that some clerics, priests and paladins might recognize him as a fraud, so he might have to disguise himself sometimes to skip going into certain cathedrals or lie his way around, so he might have to sneak around in places where no cleric should usually sneak about, but on the other hand, he might have some connections in the church that could otherwise be unobtainable because he has spent a few years or months, whatever it is, studying there. Jaron likes to light candles or bless unburied graves and really do anything good in regards to cemeteries or gravediggers, or he might have kind of a phobia regarding graveyards because of his wrongdoings. So even though the character backstory is very dark and somewhat edgy, you might say, you could turn it into a more positive for the needs and goals of the character. For the evil side of the story, Jaron might just keep on killing priests because of a madness that took him when he killed his brother. It could be that he has made a deal with the devil. Gameplay wise, this could be done by dual classing the character as a warlock cleric, which actually sounds quite nice now that I think about it. Some end goals for the character's arc might be that he wants to banish his dead brother's haunting spirit and somehow pay back what he's done. Townsmen and guards might give out rumors regarding a spirit carrying several gravedigger cloaks around and wandering about between the small towns and killing gravediggers in the process to avenge what his gravedigger brother did to him. The brother's spirit might be locked in the ethereal plane where he spends his eternity waiting for his brother to eventually die and join him. There is really a lot you can do with spirits and ghosts regarding how they work and what they do, like are they truly sentient beings, human-like, or just crazy killing machines, and how you banish them might just be a normal fight with magic weapons, or it could be some kind of a ritual or forgiveness. So as for the DM, he must figure out how he wants to basically end the character arc, if there's something like that the cleric wants to do. Dark backgrounds for religious characters is usually a very nice way to build up truly a conflicting character. It has good sides and bad sides, and in the end what matters is how the character balances all of that. This kind of a backstory also gives a lot of material for the party to interact with the cleric, so he's not just a stat block with a roughly drawn face. Thank you for watching the video, and throw down a comment if you want more videos like this. Either way, I'll be making a few of this, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye.